We've talked a lot about tips and recommendations in regards to XDefiant since launch. Factions, weapons to rank up, tips and things that you should know about, but one thing that we've yet to talk about is the actual weapon builds that I've been running that I'd like to share with you. Today we're running down my top 5 classes for you to use in XDefiant before Season 1, and now by no means is this a definitive list. It's just some stuff that I've been using and having a blast with, so feel free to let me know if you'd like to add or subtract anything to this list and share your builds as well. If you enjoy the video though, you find it at all insightful, do me a favor and drop a like on it, and make sure to subscribe for more XDefiant as well as other FPS content. I'd love to have you in the community as we chase down 600,000 subscribers, especially if you're part of that 64% of viewers not subscribed. But anyways, let's talk about these weapons that I think you should be rocking. So again, as a disclaimer, this is just some builds that I've been loving. There are a handful of other killer builds, I'd say, for even these weapons and more that can absolutely get the job done, but I just wanted to share a bit of my builds with you here in this one. So let's start out with rifles. I'm a big rifle guy, so here's what I've been enjoying. Firstly, the AK is absolutely such an easy choice in weaponry to use. Coming along with the second best in-class damage, only falling short of the M16, you're going to have great potential with each shot, needing only 4 to 5 shots to kill with a headshot in the mix, meaning that if you're accurate, it's lethal. Now, the mobility by default isn't bad, nor is the recoil, but to capitalize on that kill potential, you want to make sure that you're increasing the control while increasing handling to accommodate for the size of XDefiant maps. Totally honest, I feel like most of the maps in XDefiant don't really have a long range to them, so sacrificing that short range gain isn't all that great an idea, at least to me. So for me, I end up building a weapon that includes the compensator muzzle, lightweight barrel, pistol front rail, reflex optic, and fast mag. Now, grand scheme of things, this picks up on the weapon's mobility and amplifies its run and gun potential while controlling the vertical recoil a bit more. You do lose a bit in that horizontal recoil, but when it comes to mobility, the increased strafe speed is just enough to mitigate the feel of that horizontal recoil because you're maxing out that pool of rotational aim assist as you're strafing. Kind of like gaining control without needing to sacrifice an additional attachment, but been having an absolute blast with that one. Check it out. Next, the ACR. Honestly, probably my old reliable. I can get the job done with this thing at basically any turn. I've played around with a lot of various builds since the beta last year and subsequent play tests since then, and I don't know that I've really had a play session where I stuck to one consistent build, but the one that I've been playing with a lot recently attempts to take advantage of that firepower while adding a bit more to the range so that close or medium to long range, I can get the job done. For this, I end up running the chrome-lined barrel, reflex optic, fast mag, grip tape, and removed stock. Now, the chrome-lined barrel adds 20% to that short and medium range, which boosts the max damage range outwards of 40 meters as opposed to 33. And again, as mentioned, I feel like most of the maps in XDefiant really don't have too much of long-range play, so that means that for most maps, most engagements, I'm going to end up getting at least close to max damage per round that lands each shot. And if not, the secondary damage value, 19 as opposed to 21, still extends out to 54 meters, so really maximizing that where possible. Well, reloading with this thing can get so much quicker when it comes to that fast mag, which is incredibly important, and then the grip tape and remove stock, it looks to add a bit more to that control when it comes to recoil, but also gives a bit in that movement back through base movement and sprint to fire. Essentially getting your recoil back to about that 0 point on recoil as opposed to losing out on it based on your other attachments while gaining that 20% sprint to shoot time and movement speed. So big fan of that one, been having a blast with that. Now, one build that really caught me off guard on how much I liked it was the M16. Initially, wasn't really that into the gun, that burst delay and a few other factors just kind of put it off for me, but I fully recognize the potential. It's just I didn't care too much for it, well, until I ranked it up. This gun is very much so a prime example of weapons that get insanely better once you have the right attachments unlocked and equipped. This ends up having the highest damage potential out of any rifle with 24 damage per round, and with our build extending the potential of that. If you're accurate with this thing, you're gonna love it. I'd recommend the muzzle booster, chrome-lined barrel, pistol front rail, reflex optic, and fast mag. Now, that muzzle booster increases that rate of fire, rendering the burst delay to be a non-issue really. The chrome-lined barrel increases that max damage range in closer quarters, letting it extend outwards of 41 meters as opposed to a base 34. The pistol front rail increases that sprint to shoot and hip fire accuracy, all for a minimal penalty in recoil control. And then the fast mags end up giving you a bit more ammo plus the faster reload. Now, here's the thing, none of this really controls the recoil, but if you're familiar with the weapon, the natural spray pattern isn't all that bad and you can pretty much just pull down into the left to control it. So while you're not gaining much back in that area, for the damage potential, it's absolutely worth that bit of an adjustment in how it's going to take to getting used to firing the weapon. Again, it's kind of an odd one when it comes to getting used to it, but I've been loving this thing. Now, as for SMGs, getting into our final two weapons, the MP7 is my preferred. It's a mobile weapon, can pack a punch, and it's just a gun that I feel like is all about maneuverability. This is my mobile SMG build for sure, not just like talking movement demon type stuff, but moving around the map, playing the objective and trying to stay in the face of enemies as you do. For this, I run the chrome lined barrel, pistol grip, front rail, fast mag, quick draw, and lightweight stock. The chrome lined again gives you a bit more firepower in those closer ranges, extending them out a bit more. The pistol grip front rail lets you get that sprint to shoot time a little bit faster, which if you're playing mega aggressive, that's a huge factor obviously in getting your gunfights won. Your fast mag, obviously it's going to give you that ability to end up reloading faster. Kind of a crunch attachment when I look at some of these builds here that I have. I absolutely think that's one of the things I prioritize the most. I love faster reloads, especially when you're playing aggressive. That quick draw grip is, again, for this is preferred just because of that sprint to shoot and the ADS speed adjustments that come with it. And then the lightweight stock, some people enjoy the removed, collapsed, or precision, and that's all subjective, but the ADS walking and movement speed adjustments are appealing to me. Getting that gun up, but also being able to keep it up and move when I need to. Then, last but certainly not least, we have the P90, a bullet hose in its own right, something that's still mobile no matter how you spin it, and one that's just a lot of fun to play around with in the right hands. Now, for this, it is something that we kind of try and balance out our adjustments in a way that makes the whole build better, if that makes sense. Like, obviously, that's always the goal, but more so trying to capitalize on every property as opposed to picking and choosing either more recoil, more mobility, stuff like that. The only thing you really lose out on is a bit in regards to the ADS speed reduction and stability. Everything else, though, you're going to have a great time with. For this build, I end up running the chrome lined, the super light, the fast mag, the quick draw rear grip, and the precision stock. For this, it ends up extending that damage range out a little bit. It increases that sprint out time, or rather makes it faster, so decreases the sprint out time. Always a great attribute to have. You end up increasing that reload speed by a hefty bit there, keeping you in the action. And I honestly find, like, when I challenge 2 to 3 people, that anytime I play, I always have one more person there than what I expect. So being able to end up having that reload speed on top of being able to just have a bullet hose of a weapon, it helps out tremendously. But would absolutely recommend this build. It's a lot of fun to play around with. But that said, that's my pick, what I've been using, my main 5 weapons. Is it absolutely the be-all, end-all? No. Not even close. There's a bunch of different weapons that I'd recommend that, honestly, I just find myself gravitating towards these 5 more than others. I mean, like, things like your M249, if you rank that up, it's incredible. The SVD, if you end up having the right build plus the cleaners, it's a one-shot kill. I'm still in love with that Mark II SSR, that DMR that we talked about earlier, closer to launch, but it's just one of those things that I've gravitated more towards these weapons, and they're my more constant performance-based builds. Things that, on average, across trying to rank up all of my weapons, this is what I've ended up seeing the most success with most consistently. So honorable mentions, I'd say, are like the MDR, the M249, the MK20 SSR, maybe the SVD, maybe the Vector in there, though the Vector you really have to rank up to end up getting it to be something that's solid. And then at that point, it's still only great within close quarters. But anyways, that's my list for what I'd recommend as the top 5 weapons you should play around with and the builds to go along with them. Now again, if you do not agree, it's totally fine. This is a subjective list, and feel free to share your builds with everybody here. We're all doing the same thing, just trying to find the best builds to do as best as possible, so feel free to share. But that said, before we wrap everything up, make sure to check out my friends over at Gamer Advantage for what I firmly believe are the best blue light glasses on the market. I've worked with these guys for 3 years now and cannot recommend them enough. They're the most lightweight, comfortable, and durable frames out there as far as I've used, and I definitely think they've helped my daily productivity. Now, full transparency, they are a bit more of an investment, but I do think your vision's absolutely worth investing into, especially if you're like me. You're looking at a monitor, phone, or gaming for a good chunk of the day. And again, if you are like me with the XDefiant launch here, you've probably been playing a lot of games. So if you guys would like to learn more, at the very least, I'd recommend checking out their website where they can better break down the science and all the specifics way better than I could, but what I can personally say is I'd highly recommend them. So if you guys would like to learn more, check the link in the description below. And if you'd like to pick something up for yourself, use code Espresso to get 10% off your entire order. But for now, that is where we're going to wrap it up. Let me know your thoughts down below. Like this list, have anything to add, whatever the case, drop your thoughts. But if you enjoyed the video, you found it at all insightful, you want to try these builds out, do me a favor and drop a like on it. And if you're new to the channel, make sure you subscribe so you don't miss a single thing regarding all things XDefiant and other FPS content. We got Black Ops 6 reveals upcoming here in the next week to week and a half or so. So I'd love to have you in the community as we chase down all that kind of stuff. But for now, thank you so much for watching. My name is Espresso. I'll see you later. Take care and peace.